Hey, everybody. How is it going? Platinum Mingle Mingle. I'm Jody. You can see my name on the screen. And that's Sarah. Oh, I should probably point that way. It's like the Brady Bunch. We should be like looking at each other. Anyways, we are really excited to hop in here really quick with you guys. Super bullet point fast, but we have gotten a lot of questions. You know, one thing that I love to comment back with for people is do the 3 pillars. And so a lot of times we'll get questions, and we have got a lot of questions about, well, what are the 3 pillars? What does that mean? All this kind of stuff. So it's just a great opportunity to come here and talk about really what we have been doing for our teams for a while that we know is a core foundation of building a business, whether it's in Young Living or anything else. These 3 pillars kind of cross over to life too. So we're excited to be here.
Yeah.
Sarah, go ahead.
So Jody and I were talking, Jody and I have been working our businesses together for, I don't know, a couple of years now.
Just to give you, we're not on the same team.
Right. I was going to give you a teensy bit of background. Jody and I actually met on the airplane. We were seated next to each other on the airplane to Venice for the Mediterranean cruise, the Global Leadership Cruise. Mm-hmm. It must have been, 3 or 4 years ago now? And we were just seated next to each other on the plane, and that's how we met. So we met through Young Living. Yes. So we're not on the same team at all. If you go all the way up to the top of our lines, we're not even cross line. We're completely on separate teams. Yeah. So we just started working together a couple of years ago. We just noticed that, you know, we lead and teach very similarly. We have very similar core values, and we just get each other. So it's fun. It's fun to work together. So I was talking with Jody, you know, over the last couple of years, and I've just noticed that when I first got into Young Living, and maybe some of you guys can identify with this, when I first got into Young Living, I didn't get into it to do a business at all. In fact, I got into it to help my own family, you know, to help my family's health. And when I first started sharing with people, I was sharing with people really from the goodness of my heart. It had absolutely nothing to do with money at all. And I shared very organically, just like I would share my favorite ballpoint pen or my favorite note cards or whatever it is. And then it was at the point that I acknowledged that I was going to intentionally build this thing as a business that things kind of went, what? And the reason is that I started looking around at how all kinds of people were building their business. And I'm sure many of you have done this too. You know, you want to find the successful people and follow what they're doing, because the people that have gone before us, they must know something that we don't know, right? Right. And while that is true, there's also a lot of things in Young Living, which I'm sure that you guys notice too. There's always something new and something shiny that grabs our attention and possibly distracts us from doing real income producing activities. And along with that came IPA lists. How many of you have IPA lists that you give to your team? You maybe post up every month. Maybe it's an IPA of the day that you send out to your team. Those IPA lists are great because they help keep people focused. However, I've seen a lot of things on those IPA lists that are not actually income producing activities. Mm-hmm. They're more of managerial tasks. So things like running reports and sending messages to missed ER orders, things like that. Now, I'm not saying they're not necessary. They are a necessary part of our business. But what I've seen a lot of is I've seen a lot of people spending a lot of time doing these managerial type tasks, and they spend a bulk of their day doing it. So the message they're telling themselves is, I'm working my business, I'm working my business. And then there's frustration. Why isn't it growing? Why isn't it growing? I'm working my business. I'm running the reports. I'm sending the messages about you're close to a promo. You're close to this. You're close to that. Or I made someone a personalized referral link, and I sent it to them and told them that they should help a friend enroll or sign their friends up, but they're just not doing it. Yeah. And so what I've seen is that there are tons of IPA lists that have things on them that are not actually IPAs. And what happens is we spend so much time doing these things and we tell ourselves we're working our business, but then it doesn't grow. And then we start to think we're not good at this. Maybe this isn't for me. Mm-hmm. Or we start to think, man, I just can't figure this out, or it's the people around me, or then we start saying, my team's not growing. I don't have any builders.
And
How
we
many
go,
of you have
where are
heard
my
that?
builders? I need to find builders. How many of you guys have said that or heard that? I need builders.
We
Yeah.
need builders, right? But building this business is not actually about finding builders, because the statistics already show us that it's only 8% that ever reach star or above. And when we get to senior star, we're down at less than 1%, right? So you guys, we in this group, we are unicorns. So why are we spending our time waiting for unicorns?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The way that this business is built is through relationship. It's not through waiting for builders. Builders are gravy. They rise to the top without us doing anything, right?
Yeah,
It's through relationship. Yeah, like us, right?
Everybody
It's
here.
through relationship and doing the 3 pillars. So Jody, share with us what the 3 pillars are.
Well, and one thing too that one thing that stood out to me that you said was, we do all the task, we do all the stuff, and then we walk away from our computer and we go, oh, I had such a long day. Like I did so many things. I was at my computer all day. And then what I hear a lot of, and what I have been hearing a lot of, is I'm tired. I'm so tired. And there's a difference between I'm tired because I just went and taught for 10 days straight, which would be in one of the pillars, right? Or the I'm tired because we're doing the wrong things, which is going to tire us out. That's going to make us feel burnt out and tired when we're doing the managerial tasks, when we're sitting behind our computer. So the 3 pillars are very simple. And what we have found, and I will be honest, I think Sarah and I would both be honest with this. We wish we would have had the light bulb moment a few years ago, but I feel like the light bulb moment was maybe 2 years ago for me. And it was really just a year ago that I it just all seemed to flow. It just all seemed to click. And that's, with the 3 pillars, that's what's so important about doing this business is when we're walking in those 3 pillars, we're not going to get tired. Meaning we're not going to get the tiredness of doing busy work, and our team's going to move forward. Regardless, if you're working in the 3 pillars, your team's going to move forward. There's no doubt about it. So the first pillar is helping to share consistently every day. So a good way to look at it is that we are the first pillar, right? So I'm the first pillar, Sarah's the first pillar, every one of you in this group is the first pillar, every member on your team is the first pillar. It's us sharing with people every day in an effort to walk them into a starter kit, in an effort to literally have them begin with Young Living. And what's missed, right? Number one thing that gets missed in that pillar is we stop sharing. I, as a Royal Crown Diamond, Sarah, as a Crown Diamond, still share every day. My goal is to hit the Help 5 every single month. And I typically always do. I can't think of a month where I haven't. And I am not a social media influencer type, I'm not a big thing of lots of enrollments, right? But that is the key in the first pillar is how are we sharing every day in an effort to walk people into the starter kit, but there's so much more depth in that detail, right, Sarah?
Yes. Something that I hear is I'm just not a high enroller. I'm just not a person that enrolls a lot. So I'm waiting for my builders to do that. Or I've got members on my team that are high enrollers. So it's okay if I'm not. You guys, that's a lie that we tell ourselves. So you don't have to be like a mega high enroller, but here's the real deal. If you're not enrolling people consistently, I'll say at least 2 a month. What kind of example does that set for your team? Your team might look at you or me if I'm not enrolling people and might go, Sarah's successful and she doesn't enroll many people. I can be successful too without enrolling many people. And that's not true. Because you guys, the only way that we grow this business is in duplication of numbers. And you tell me, how do we grow our team without more numbers? That's enrolling people. we have to keep enrolling people. And I'm going to tell you right now that Jody and I are doing the very same things every day that senior stars on our team are doing, that brand new builders on our team are doing every day. It's the same thing. We have to continue enrolling people because that's how we bring new blood, if you will, into our organization. And more than anything, it sets the example. I don't know about you, but I don't want to ask my team to do anything that I'm not willing to do.
Yes, exactly. So that first pillar, guys, when we say the depth is in the details, here's where the depth is, right? It's all the stuff that's missed in between. So how many of you guys get questions that get posted in your Facebook groups, or maybe you've even posted this questions of like, you know, or maybe you've seen your members or your builders or whatever, which is, you know, I advertised to have this class and nobody showed up. Nobody showed up to my class. I can't get people to show up to my classes, okay?
Whose problem does that make that? It makes it the other person, right? The people won't come to my class. I'm there, I clean my house, I set out the food. I do voices, sorry guys. It just like sits in my head better. I got everything ready, I got my kids out of the house, and by golly, nobody showed up. I try to do classes and they don't work, people don't show up.
Yeah, so here's where the depth can begin, which is all of the open-ended questions that we can ask ourselves. And this is what we do with our team on a daily basis, which is peel back the layers of the onion and really get to the root of why did they not show up? Because we tell ourselves all these things and then we give up, or our sharers give up and then we get frustrated. You know, that's a whole evil cycle of things, right? It's about, like, for example, let's take this case of nobody showing up for a class or can't get people to show up for a class. Well, there's a whole lot missing in there, which is what was the relationship, right? So if somebody comes to me and I start asking the questions and peeling back the layers, they start to have these aha moments of like, oh, yeah, well, they probably really didn't know why they were coming to the class. What was my relationship with them? Do I have a voice in their life? What am I doing on a daily basis to have a voice in somebody's life? All these things are so important to actually have that first pillar work, right?
Right.
That's the depth that's in those details.
Yeah, we have to have influence over people, you guys, in order to have earned a right to have a voice in someone's life, which requires relationship. So when I have people on my team come to me and they say, hey, I'm hosting classes and people just are not showing up, I'll say, oh, great. Well, who are you inviting? Like specifically, are you just like putting a Facebook invite out there? Or I'll tell you, instead of all that, I'm just going to tell you how I do classes is this. I don't think about what class I want to do, because it doesn't matter to me what class I want to do. I already have the information. What I want to think about is first of all, who do I want to teach to? Because at this point in my business, and probably many of you in here now too, at this point in your business, you're not just throwing it all out there and seeing what sticks, right? There's like certain areas of your team that are growing at a faster rate than others, and maybe you have some legs that need help. So when I'm going to host a class at my house or do some kind of a training or something, I'm looking at the areas of my business. It could be legs, it could be pockets in legs. I'm looking at the areas of my business where I am not so good at being able to connect with those people. And when I say not so good, like when I've offered classes in the past, they can never make my class because their schedule doesn't support it, right? Mm-hmm. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to have classes where the same serial class goers come every time because it's their escape from their husband. That's not moving my business forward. So instead of just putting an open invite for a Facebook class out there, I'm opening the plus boxes of my downline and looking at who do I want to get to come to a class. And then I'm going to maybe go Facebook stalk them and see like if they're giving me any clues on their Facebook wall about what's going on in their life that they might need some help with, right? Because when we ask somebody that has not embraced this lifestyle, when we ask somebody that's not embraced this lifestyle what they need, they don't know what they don't know. So if we want to move this along, we have to figure out the right open-ended questions, right? So I'm going to try to determine what my audience needs, the audience that I'm trying to get there. And then I'm going to try and host a class or meet with them in person so that I can actually get with them and get them information that they need. If people aren't coming to my class, it's because they're not interested in my content, or I'm not actually personally inviting people and showing them the value of what the class has to offer, right? So I see that we're going about things kind of differently. Something that Jody and I are always saying to our teams is, before you get going doing a class or an event or whatever, I ask myself, what's my end game? What's the end result? What's my desired outcome of this? Is it to get people to raise their ER averages? Is it to help walk people into sharing? Or is it to get new members? Because that matters in how I'm going to structure the class.
Exactly. So that first pillar, guys, is super important. Now, here's the thing. All three, when we get to the end, all three, and we're going to kind of buzz through the last couple here because I know your time is valuable. But when we get to that, what we need to understand is all three of these have to be working because they all connect to each other. When one is missing, the other two don't work. So if I'm not working in the first pillar and I'm not consistently doing this because I want to actively grow my business, then I'm going to have a really hard time doing the second pillar. And then I'm going to have a really hard time doing the third pillar. So that second pillar is now walking somebody into the lifestyle of Essential Rewards, or really basically just walking them into the lifestyle of Young Living, right? And so
healthy lifestyle. Just a healthy lifestyle.
So what do we hear? I can't get people on ER. Nobody's interested in ER. People fall off ER. It's all the like, I can't, beating our head against our desk, and we're tired, right? It tires us out because just messaging people about missing their ER order, is that creating a relationship? That's not creating a relationship. It's not finding out what their need is. It's not doing something that is actually the detail work, right? Which is the relationship piece. And to be honest with you, this is where a lot of people, they don't want to do the work. And so yeah. I do have a news flash for you, is if you're not willing to do this, your business will not move forward. There is no way around it. And
there is one way around it. You're going to get some rock star people that are willing to do the three pillars under you. And if there's one in each leg.
So here's the thing is, maybe somebody does have a growing organization and they're not doing this. I guarantee you somebody underneath them is doing this. Somebody underneath them is working in the three pillars. So that second pillar, let me give you an example of this. And this is an example from our group. So we daily coach our team together every day, face to face, all day with our team. And we're peeling back the layers of the onion. Right. And so one of the gals in our group had, this question about, well, I keep trying to get my hairstylist to grasp the lifestyle. She got a starter kit. It's not working. I'm frustrated. I don't get it. Right. And so through many lines of questioning, lots of open-ended questions, lots of her light bulb moments, it finally comes really to pass that number one, this gal is not really ready to embrace the lifestyle. She's selling Rodan and Fields in her store. She's putting toxic chemicals on people's heads, right? It's like, so there's a piece missing in that second pillar, which this gal was not seeing except through these lines of questioning of helping her understand how that second pillar works and walking somebody into it. And after that, it was like, oh, so I have to go back to the first pillar and I have to create that relationship and I have to help walk her in to that second pillar because that whole thing was missed, right?
Mm-hmm. A whole lot of what we're helping our team to see, and then what we're constantly doing is learning to discern when it's time to move on with someone and look for the new whites of someone's eyes, right? And as it turns out, this hairstylist, what was uncovered through asking open-ended questions was she's not actually in a position to share Young Living because she's not really even using it herself. And I think this happens a lot. Like the third pillar is that we want to walk people into sharing or help make it easy to share, really. And that does not look like going, hey, hairstylist, you have a great opportunity to share with a lot of people here and make a lot of money. Why don't you pitch Young Living?
Right.
That's not going to do it. When I talk about walking people into sharing, what I mean is through the second pillar of finding someone on Essential Rewards that has never enrolled someone. And I call them on the phone, or maybe I send them a voice message and I say, hey, Jody, I see you're on Essential Rewards. I'm so curious what kinds of things you're ordering every month. Which things are you loving? I'm really loving this right now, blah, blah, blah. And then Jody messages me back and she says, yeah, I'm really loving the lemon, lavender, peppermint, you know, the trees and the pollen in the air right now. It's just killing me, but it has been a lifesaver. And you know what? I've been sharing it with friends at work too, and they love it. And I go, no kidding, Jody, you're sharing it with friends at work. What are your friends saying? But see, what I'm getting at here is now I know I can help walk Jody into sharing. She's already telling people about it. I would have never known that had I not engaged in conversation with her, inquiring, just being curious about what she's doing in her life with Young Living. And now what I know is she's sharing. So now I can help empower her and help her do that easier without dropping the business bomb on her. I'm not going to go, you know, you should do the business, because most people go, right? Nobody wants to do an MLM. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know, that's really cool that you're sharing with your friends at work. You know, when I first started telling people about Young Living, there was no like material or anything. I literally had to go online and print out photos and hand them to people. But now we have these wonderful brochures. And I'm curious, Jody, if I mailed you some of these premium starter kit brochures, talks about seed to seal, blah, 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 and you can help, you know, share with your friends, would that help you share with your friends and family more? And she's going to go, yeah, it would. And so I'm going to send her that stuff and make it easy for her to share. Yeah. And she's not going to think she's doing the business. I'm not going to tell her she's doing the business. She's going to get some thank you checks and she's going to help her friends. Yeah. And really, you guys, if we can just help, think about the numbers in your business and how this would work if instead of looking for builders and leaders and waiting for people to rise up, instead, how would it look if we walked every single one of our members into sharing with a friend, a family, and a neighbor? Exactly. The end. What would that look like?
You know, so a lot of what we do every day too with our teams is language. It's you know, through that coaching process and through the daily real situations, we can see where that little language needs a tweak, or we can see where that little piece was missed. And so that's, you know, again, there's a lot of ways to do things. This is our way. This is what we have. This is what we do every day. And this is what we see moves businesses forward. And the cool thing about the 3 pillars is it's not complicated. The thing about the 3 pillars is there's actually no shiny objects. There's no carrot you have to dangle. You know, I love to do fun things. Don't get me wrong. And I do fun things all the time because I just love to do that. But when we're doing this, we don't feel tired. We don't feel stressed out. We don't feel like we're pulling and tugging people on or along, right? And there's no magic sauce. It's just literally doing the stuff. So, and like I said, all 3 have to be working in order for all 3 to work together. If I'm missing the 2nd pillar, I will not have duplication happening in my team. I will not have growth of people sharing. Plain and simple. If I'm not sharing myself every day, I'm going to have a really hard time walking people into that 2nd pillar and helping to get them on ER. So all of that stuff, guys, it's just, again, it works. It's simple. And, you know, simple work sometimes. Back to basics, right?
Yeah. So what we've been doing, what Jody and I have been doing is coaching our teams via Marco Polo. Maybe some of you guys have been using Marco Polo. I understand Marco Polo gets used in a lot of different ways. I've heard about teams using it as like an IPA thing where none of the team talks, just a leader goes in and gives an IPA for the day. That's not what ours looks like at all. I've also heard of folks that are requiring their builders to show up like with a face on and dressed for the day in order to get on.
Sarah's in her Grammy jammies and I'm like in the shower.
You're going to see me in the bath. You're going to see me in my Grammy jammies. You're going to see me looking like a hot mess because you know what? If you were to knock on my door, that's what I look like. That's real life. And what that does.
Yeah, go ahead.
What that does is it allows us to really be ourselves and really help other people be themselves. And what I've seen so much is through Marco Polo and people showing up, with their face and their real live unedited stuff, it helps Jody and I be able to peel back those layers and see what is really going on. Is it really the people you're talking to, or is it really maybe how we're presenting information, or how we're not, or how we're skipping steps? There's so much that goes on in the Marco Polo groups that cannot be done in a Facebook group. It just cannot be done.
Yeah, so we decided that this was, I mean, we love what we do, and we want to open up a very limited group for Team Young Living for anybody who wants to dig into this. It's going to be extremely limited participants. It's 3 months long. It's conveniently ending right before convention because we do have some surprises at convention for people who are in our coaching group. And it is any rank. And one thing that we know is, well, I don't like separating people by rank, typically for most things, because we should be doing this regardless of our rank every single day. So if it interests you, I'm going to put some information in the comments, and we are excited to see who wants to dig in and who wants to get deep and who wants to really uncover the stuff and get into the 3 pillars. And I can promise you it's going to move your business forward. So
it's energizing. It's not exhausting. It's energizing to go, oh, I see what I've been missing. I can do that. Jody and I, every day, we get to hear from our own teams in our Marco Polo groups about just how little tweaks in language, little tweaks in how we're presenting information, how we're approaching people. It just makes all the difference in the world. And I love it. Marco Polo has transformed the way that I can, communicate with my team and how they see me, and just having the simplicity of the 3 pillars. And really what I want to really leave you with, you guys, is that the 3 pillars is not about the actual 3 pillars. It's really about the relationship that goes on with all of those, because I can assure you, if you're out there trying to sign people up, you're going to have a harder go at it than trying to help people get started. And if you're out there trying to get people on ER, it's going to be a lot harder than helping bring people along in the lifestyle. And if you're out there trying to get people to sign other people up, that's going to be a lot harder than helping walk people into sharing with their friends and family.
Yep, exactly. So we're excited to see which, who wants to join us in this. And there's a lot to learn. I learn every day from Sarah. We learn from each other.
Yep.
I'm constantly in a state of learning, and we love what we do, and we're super passionate about these 3 pillars, guys. There's no way around it. This is what works. So reach out to us if you have any questions, and I will post some information in the comments. And there you go.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, guys.
Thanks for giving us your time.
See you later.
Bye.